Mm-hmm.
And so they took us out of those cells that we were in, and they were patting us down. They were taking our personal items. We didn't wear our wedding rings because we thought like if we got into jail, that they would probably take it and lose it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we didn't have that, and they took his glasses, I believe. Or maybe they tried to take his glasses and they gave it back
Mm-hmm.
um, because it had wire rings on it. They might have taken it, and he was crying, and I
Mm-hmm.
looked. I said, "Babe, you can't do that. Those men in there, they see you crying. They will see weakness. You
Mm-hmm.
can't do that." And the deputy said, "She's right. You can't do that. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot cry in there." And
Right.
I was so afraid for him. I was
Mm-hmm.
more afraid for him than myself because I'm black. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
can I can be okay. I mean, I thought I could be okay
Mm-hmm.
around the area that I was at,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was just so worried.
Mm-hmm.
They took us and they took him to the men's jail, and that was an old jail in the Wayne County Jail, and they took me to the women's jail. It was in the around the same building, but it was kind of separated.
Okay.
And
So did
so
you two, before you were put into separate prisons or jails, I don't know what the correct word is there, but were you two allowed to talk to each other at all a few minutes or not? No. Okay.
no, no, it was, believe me, it was so overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember, I don't know, I remember them taking us in a van or something because we were in a different building. We were in the courthouse. So they
Mm-hmm.
had to take us in a van. And so there was a plexiglass between us. It was dark plexiglass between us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I could see him. I could see him a little bit. And it was really difficult. They took us out and they separated us. And it was it was a very difficult experience. I just gave birth,
Mm-hmm.
and I I think I was around, I would say 215, 211 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they take us and they have to switch out our clothes to jail clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And so you think you would have your privacy to do all that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't.
Okay.
Your privacy is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I went in there with a whole bunch of women. They all had to unclothe themselves
Mm-hmm.
and all standing there naked.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have to squat and cough because some people can hide things in their private areas.
Okay.
And so in order for them to find it, squatting and cough will probably push it out.
Sure.
Um, and so they had to lift their hair to see if anything was underneath their hair, stick up their tongue, put your hands out, put them up. And it was just like they didn't call you by your first name, they just called you by your last name.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I was like hiding behind another naked woman just so I could feel like it was just
Right.
so much.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, Henry, come out of there. And so I'm like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
And so then after that, they just tell us the rules or whatever, and we get our clothes and we wait until they put us where we had to go.
Mm-hmm.
And in that whole time, I'm just so overwhelmed. I just had no idea how to think. So
Mm-hmm.
they take us to where they take us to a quarantine place where they take all the women that they're first men and women who are coming in, and they
Mm-hmm.
quarantine them from the rest of the population to see if they have any health issues or see so we all go like to the doctor and they check us out. And
Mm-hmm.
I told them that I just had given birth. I had
Mm-hmm.
a C-section, and they're like, okay, well then we have to take you to the hospital. So they handcuff me and take me outside to the hospital, and I'm walking into a hospital handcuffed with my hands and my legs, and I'm just it was so like, it was so embarrassing. Like
Mm-hmm.
walking into a hospital and people looking at you,
Right.
handcuffed, and the
So
doc.
at this point, you I don't- do you guys know you do you have a good understanding of even the evidence that they have against you? You don't, right? So you're kind of probably still thinking that this is all going to get worked out. I mean, that's what I would be hoping for certain. But you've been
Mhm.
lost your children, one to death and two to the state, and your husband's separated from you. And I mean, you guys don't have family around. You have your church family that will probably visit you, but I mean, so this is a pretty low point. I mean, like you had said, you're crying out to God. It would make me think about the verse where it talks about, if you're suffering for things that you did, then I'm gonna butcher it. But if you're suffering and you
Yeah.
haven't done anything wrong, it'll help you identify with Christ. I think that's where my mind would go and hope that this was gonna have some good fruit from it, but at the same time, I would be terrified.
Yes, it was very terrifying. And I remember our lawyer telling us, "Hey, if anybody asks you why you're in there, do not say anything, because
Okay.
a lot of people, when they ask you that question, they're looking to see if they can get their time lowered by telling on you, or if you tell them, oh yeah, I did this, and this is why I did it, and this is how I did it, and they're like, okay, and I can write all
Right.
that down later, and that can lower my sentence because I tattle
Mm-hmm.
on you or whatever. And
Right.
so, just don't talk to anybody because you don't want people to confuse what you say or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so it felt so overwhelming. All I wanted to do was like, can I write my husband? Can I talk to him? Like, is there a way to talk? Is there a way to talk to anybody? Is there a Bible? Like, I
Right.
wanted a Bible. And
Mm-hmm.
so we grew up in a church that was King James only.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first Bible I find is the NIV. And
Mm-hmm.
the church I went to, they were like, everything else is like from the devil. Like, really, like,
Sure.
everything else was a bad version. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like, at first, I'm like, should I really read this? Like,
Sure.
but I'm like, this is all I have. Like, this is a Bible. And
Mm-hmm.
so I devour it and I have to give it back to whoever I borrowed it from.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so we were in quarantine and I was there for not too long. And then I asked one of the girls, I'm like, is there a way that I can get information from another inmate? And they're like, hey, you have to ask the deputies and maybe you'll find a good one that'll tell you. And so I asked around, and one of the deputies like, okay, yep, here's his inmate number, here's the address and everything. I'm like, okay, so I
Mm-hmm.
can start writing him.
Mm-hmm.
So our family set up something so that we can have money to buy envelopes and stamps and food if we wanted to off the commissary.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so right away, I was able to, excuse me, call family
Mm-hmm.
and able to talk with them. But my husband, I'm not sure how long, but it was kind of a long time till he was able to talk to anyone. And that was very
Oh.
depressing for
Mm-hmm.
him. And so I was able to write him right away. I sent him a letter
Mm-hmm.
right away. As soon as I got into the area that I was supposed to stay in, I was really nervous because I'm like, how do I conduct myself? Like, what do I do? And I told the Lord, I'm like, listen, I'm shy. I don't want to talk to people. I just want to stay to myself. But if you want me to share the gospel, if you want me to talk to him, you're going to have to put the words in my mouth. You're going to have to speak through me because I can't. I
Mm-hmm.
can't. Everything is so overwhelming to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I used to, growing up, going to church when I was 14, I used to greet a lot of people in church. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Like, welcome to church. I would ask them the names and get to know them. And so I was like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just greet whoever I meet. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to ask them their names, and I'm going to pray for them, and I'm going to write down their names.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird for being in jail.
Mm-hmm.
Someone to like greet you, like, "Hey, how you doing? Like,
Right.
what's your name? Can I pray for you?" And they're like, "Okay,
Mm-hmm.
weird." And so that's what I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I came into what they call is a pod, or the cell area where we were at. They had cells. It was like kind of like circular. There was cells in the middle. There were chairs and tables for us to sit. Everything was metal. Everything was hard. And then they had one shower that we all shared. And then in everybody's cell, they had a toilet.
Okay.
Um, and they had a sink attached to the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
So I always thought, like, is this like toilet water that I'm brushing
Right.
my teeth?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was always leery of drinking that water. So a lot of times I would not drink water. And I think that after a while did not do good for me.
Sure.
Not drinking water is not good for you.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there would be like gnats getting out from the sink and flying out from the sink. And I'm like, I don't really like this. I
Right.
don't like drinking water from this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think I mostly drank whatever orange juice for breakfast or whatever. And so I rarely drank the water. I grew up with, well, one of the things that I really felt like God loved, like signs that God loved me, like little things like sun shining on me. It was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, God really loves me. It's like I felt like it was a hug from
Right.
God. And
Mm-hmm.
like exotic colored birds or
Mm-hmm.
butterflies. And like if I would see that, I would just immediately feel like, oh, God loves me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I know that God knows that. And so the room that the cell that I was going to be in was the only cell that had a window.
Oh.
And I was like, I can look out the window and the sun would shine into my room. And
Mm-hmm.
I cried. I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, oh, God, you love me. You're
Mm-hmm.
here. You're taking care of me. And I was like, okay, all will be well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I I really felt like I have to pray. I have to pray now. And so I
Mm-hmm.
get on my knees and I start praying, and girls pass my room and they're seeing me praying on the floor, and they're so one of the girls called after me and they're like, "Hey, come here. I want to talk to you. And why are you here? Like, what did you do?" And I'm like, "Well, I was falsely accused of something." And they're
Mm-hmm.
like, "I kind of believe you. I
Mm-hmm.
believe you." And one of the girls walked in and she's like, "You were praying on the floor, like you were on your knees. Like, are you a Muslim?" I'm like, "No, but I believe you can pray however you want. You can stand up,
Sure.
you can close your eyes, you can do whatever you want." And they're like, "Okay." And one of the girls was like, "Can you pray with us?" Like they immediately like felt like they knew something was different
Mm-hmm.
about me. And so we all held hands in a circle and I prayed with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went back to my room, and I there was always so much sin, so
Mm-hmm.
much cussing and fighting and arguing amongst, I'm not sure how many ladies were in there at the time, but I would say more than 10. Um, Maybe more than 15, not too much more than that. There was two to a room.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I, I wanted to do whatever it took to make, if I had a bunkie, make that bunkie comfortable. And I would, write down all the girls' names and I would pray with them. And, at first they were like really confused. They're like, "Why are you smiling?
Mm-hmm.
Why this is not a place where people smile."
Right.
And I'm like, "Well, I'm a Christian. I love the Lord, and I want to glorify God." And they're like, I believe you.
Mhm.
Um, and so there was a TV in the common area where everybody would watch TV, and it was so frustrating because all that was playing on that TV was like Judge Judy or
Mm.
Jerry Springer or
Oh,
how to make a murderer.
oh, okay.
There was a new show at the time, How to Make a Murderer. I'm like,
Mhm.
how are you allowing this to be watched by supposed murderers?
Right,
So I
right,
was I was in that population of murderers. So
right,
that's all of us there.
right.
And so it was overwhelming. And so I was able to write a letter. I don't think I got a letter back right away
Okay.
because even though it's the same building, I believe they have to look through your mail and then take it out of the building, and the postman comes back into the building and then delivers it to the buildings.
Okay.
And sometimes it took a while
Mm,
to get to us.
okay. So
And
at this time, Alex, are you like able to communicate with your legal representation and like have some idea of how long you're going? I mean, you had a June. Did they set a date in June? Did they set? They did.
yes, and so I'm sorry, sometimes long-winded, but
Oh,
the
that's
lawyer
okay.
that we had, I remember when I said earlier, he basically almost didn't say anything
Yeah.
in the room, and a lawyer that was with our pastor noticed that and he's like, that lawyer is not a good lawyer. You need to
Okay.
talk to Derek and Alex and tell them to get someone else. And
Mm-hmm.
so he didn't come visit us, and that was very overwhelming to us. I'm like,
Right.
we're paying you all this money, and
Right.
you don't come visit us. And
Mm-hmm.
so our
You
family
two.
asked,
Sorry, Alex. You two ended up getting separate lawyers at one point, right?
yes,
Oh, sorry.
yes.
I'm not trying to skip ahead, but
No, 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 no. That's good. It gets my train of thought
okay.
getting focus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we actually had to fire him, and my brother-in-law tried to get the money back from him that they paid him, and he didn't give them the money back. So we lost like $30,000 right
Oh
there.
wow. Okay.
And so it's just, and we actually had a brother and sister-in-law, a family of my mother-in-law's husband, um, daughter and son-in-law, lived in Michigan, and
Mhm.
they helped sell our house, and they put all of our belongings in their garage. They were very kind. They were very helpful,
Mhm.
and they actually wanted to visit our kids, and they did whatever it took to help us, and that was really kind of them.
Were
So
they
they,
allowed to visit your kids?
yeah,
They
so they
were.
were allowed, not later on at some point, they weren't
Okay.
allowed anymore.
Okay.
Um, but with the children, they were at a foster home first. The foster mom didn't want them because she was not able to adopt them.
Okay.
So she was kind of like, well, it makes no point to keep them if I'm not able to, like, in the future, adopt them. And
Okay.
so they went to a different home, and our pastor knew of a foster mom and a foster dad that would take both of our sons, and we were pretty excited. And they were Christians, and I think he was a principal of a Christian school or something,
Mhm.
which we were really excited, and we wanted them. We had our kids listening to the Bible when they slept. And so we wanted to continue that. And so we gave them the Bible, the MP3 player that we had for him, and the speakers. And so we were excited that they were going to be in a Christian home and that they would, be taken care of. And
Were
so,
you allowed any contact with them at that time, you and Derek at all?
no, no, because I mean, we're in jail. Like, how can we?
Okay.
Yeah. And
So
so,
were you allowed to write them letters? Or
no.
I mean, I know your younger son wouldn't be able to like.
right.
they wouldn't be able to read it, but I mean, maybe somebody would read it to them or not.
Yeah. So what happened was at some point, our family in Michigan
Mm-hmm.
wanted to take our kids, and and we were excited. We went to court. Everything was working out that they were gonna. The judge ordered it to happen. They were gonna
Okay.
move. They were gonna move with that family. And then all of a sudden, the foster mom started to say that Hezekiah was banging his head on the wall,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like storing food as if he'd never eaten anything before, eating too many carrots or hiding sandwiches or whatever. And he started to say, Mommy and Daddy hit Israel, and stuff that a 2.5-year-old did not have. He wasn't talking. So, how
Mm-hmm.
can he say all that?
Right.
And so, because they started to say the family that was in Michigan, they owned a Bible binding business where they bind Bibles, and they lived in a church.
Mm-hmm.
And so the foster mom and the psychologists were saying that the children are afraid, that Hezekiah was afraid of the Bible, so they
Oh
didn't
my.
play the Bible, and that he would be afraid if he went to live with this family because they were around Bibles.
Oh.
That's their career. They bind Bibles.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were like, the judge was immediately stopped his previous recommendation to move our kids with family, and that was halted. And then visitation with the kids were pretty much halted after that too, with our
Oh.
family. Like
Interest.
they
You know what? I found that interesting when I was reading the book in general that they didn't try to place with family to begin with. Because, like, I
yeah,
mean, in North Dakota, I've been involved with the system a little bit because we had a child that was placed with us. But, like, they look for family first. It seems like
yeah. Yes, but it was because our family didn't live in
in the
Michigan.
state. Okay.
Right. So we had family in, I believe at the time, Texas
Okay.
and New York and North Dakota. This was the only family that was in Michigan.
Okay.
So our pastor and his wife were willing to house the children as well, take care of the children as well, but they didn't want that
You wouldn't
either.
let them, huh?
No, yeah. So it was just like we didn't know what was happening. Like how all of a sudden the kids were doing well. That we had several visits with them before we went to jail.
Mm-hmm.
All the visits were well. They were documented that they went well. Nothing ever happened. He was never hoarding food. He was never crying or telling them anything. All of a sudden, when our children were going to be moved, is when all of these accusations started to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was very much overwhelming on top of being in jail. Now like our kids can't be with family. It was like, what is happening, God? What is happening?
Right.
Um, and so I believe I think we had a court appearance before June,
Mm-hmm.
and and we they were going to ask us to accept a plea, and
Okay.
the plea that they were offering, well, actually, I mean, before that, our family, they found another lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
They hired him, very expensive but very good lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, for it was going to be for both of us, but our lawyer was like, well, I can't, because you both are on the same case. You need lawyers, separate lawyers.
Okay.
I can't remember what they call that, but we needed separate lawyers, and so we couldn't afford two lawyers. So
Mm-hmm.
I was going to get a lawyer from the state,
Mm-hmm.
and I was very scared of that because lawyers from the state, they don't really represent you very well because they don't get paid
Sure.
much. And so I was really nervous. And then I found out who the lawyer was, and some of the girls would whisper and be like, "Oh, that woman, she's not going to represent you. She's never going to visit you." I'm like, "Oh, oh God,
Okay. Yeah.
have mercy, have mercy. Like, what are we
Mhm.
going to do? And so they asked us to take a plea for, um, what was it, 18 years.
Oh,
And
wow.
we were like, no, we
Mhm.
didn't do anything. We didn't do anything. And they're like, okay, well, you're going to go to trial. Um,
Mhm.
and so that's the only time that the judge and other people are able to hear proof if you're innocent or guilty is during trial. They don't know
Right.
anything. All they know then and there is that you have you've murdered your son. That's all they know. And
Mhm.
so we had 5 charges. We had first-degree murder, second-degree murder, manslaughter, first-degree child abuse, and third-degree child abuse. They just try to throw all these things in
Right.
one stick.
So with
And
first degree murder, don't they have to prove premeditation?
yes,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. So
yeah, and
they thought they had enough evidence to prove premeditation.
yeah, they
Interesting. Okay.
they thought they had this. And so it was quite overwhelming. And we're like, we're not going to take a plea. We didn't do
Right.
anything.
Mm.
Um, and it was scary. And I'm like, okay, but then we go to trial and then we could face life.
Right.
Like, should we consider it? And I'm like, no, we're innocent. We're
Right.
not do that. And
That's
so
really a test of your trust and faith in God there.
it was scary. It was
Right.
very scary.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so we waited out and try to me and my husband write each other back and forth. We both do Bible studies with him with the males and me with the females, and
Mhm.
I I've experienced a lot of God just taking care of me and protecting me and providing for me. So many people wrote us letters. We've
Mhm.
got so many mail of people just like encouraging us, and that kept us going. And we had our family ordered us Bibles. We had our own Bibles. The church family came to visit us every single week, and
Wow. That's
that was
awesome.
that was just how faithful they
Mhm.
were to us.
Right.
It was it was far
Right.
beyond imagination. How could they be so faithful to people who they did not know? How could
Mhm.
they believe us? And it
Right.
was just amazing the love that they had for us. Every court that we had, if it was for the kids or if it was for us, they were there.
Mhm.
Our church packed the courthouse, and our
Mhm.
judge saw. I mean, if we were criminals and murderers, like nobody would come to court.
Right.
Maybe our family
Right.
member, our whole church packed the courthouse, and people that we never even met before
Mhm.
packed the courthouse because they've heard of us and they were praying for us, and it was just amazing how God
Yeah.
just showed himself faithful through his people, through
Mhm.
me. Um,
I thought about a lot when I was reading, about your time in jail and like the ministry that you and your husband were both trying to do. Like, I really was impressed with what you guys were doing. Even like I thought too how important jailhouse ministry is because you talked about how you wish that there was church more often in jail. And
mhm.
I so whoever out there is doing jailhouse ministry, God bless you. You're really doing a good thing there. But
it,
I
it,
mean, it's really a need, and I don't think about it that much. And I thought
yeah,
about it a lot when I read your story, because I think it just makes people nervous a lot of times to go into a place like that and to share the gospel with people. But it's so needed. You can tell
yeah,
from what you were saying.
yes, and there's all the men and women there are very vulnerable. And there's a lot of what's called jailhouse conversions, like, God, if you deliver me, I'll do whatever you want. And then they get out and they don't go to church and
Right.
whatever.
Right.
But some in there are real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's rare because men love darkness rather than
Right.
light.
Right.
And so it was really hard because I would, share the gospel with girls and have Bible study with girls. And then next thing you know, they're just, you know, cussing and doing all this stuff. And, what do I expect from women who this has been their life, you
Right.
know?
Right. It
And,
just
and
makes you
so,
wonder sometimes, like, at least me personally, like I wonder sometimes when you share the gospel with somebody, I always am asking God, how come it didn't change them? And it reminds you that God is the one who does the changing.
yeah,
And, I mean,
yeah,
whereas we say things and we, try to show Christ in our lives, but it's God that does that. And
mhm.
only He can do it. Sometimes you wish you could do it, but.
Oh, yeah. Yes, yes, yes. We always wish that our spiritual growth would be a lot faster, and we always try to do something. Okay, let me check
Mhm.
off my Bible devotions today, and
Right.
that's going to be more spiritual. But God
Mhm.
is the one who um, grows us.
Mhm.
Um, he's the one who awakens us every
Right.
day. He's the one who's allows our eyes to be open and our ears to hear. And
Right.
so it was very challenging because a lot of times we feel like we have the control. If we share the gospel, then someone must repent and they must change and they must be baptized, and we want that control. But God is the one who changes the hearts.
Right.
And I constantly had to seek Him. I constantly had to trust Him.
Mhm.
And in that, I believe there was one girl that her name was Tani,
Mhm.
and she was pregnant in jail, and she really had a hard time.
Mhm.
She was miserable. I mean, like having to be in jail, being pregnant,
Right.
and being falsely accused, and knowing that you're going to give birth to your child and you're not going to see him in
Right.
jail.
Mhm.
That I mean, it was hard enough for me.
Right.
And I was just like, oh, she's going to give birth soon. And oh, this is
Mhm.
going to be really hard on her. I remember the day when she was ready to give birth and just the sadness that
Mhm.
she had. Like, she will not see this baby. She
Right.
would not get to raise this baby. And, my friend Tani, she is still in prison. And I think her son, that she's probably 13 or so,
Mhm.
she barely sees him, and
Yeah.
it's very difficult,
Mhm.
you know to
Right.
not see your child. And so she was very, very depressed while we
Mhm.
were there, and she had a hard time forgiving those who had trespassed against her, people
Mhm.
who had put her in a situation that she could have been free if they would
Right.
just tell the truth.
Mhm.
Um, and so she had a lot of anger. So for a while, like she wouldn't respond to the gospel, but
Mhm.
God broke that ice, and like it was amazing the work that He was doing in her. She started doing Bible studies. She started like encouraging me, and I was like, oh, this is
Mhm.
awesome. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that had to be really helpful to have somebody else to talk to.
yes, it was. It was. And like, having people to visit me, and I also encouraged the ladies who were visiting me, hey, can you please visit Tani? And Tani was just like,
Yeah.
oh, this is amazing. Thank you so
Mhm.
much.
So
And
I do
I,
have a question, Alex, going back to something that you said. When you guys got to your trial phase, do you think that it helped you or hurt you? I mean, to a degree that your whole church is coming, I mean, like, do you feel like the state was kind of like pushing the narrative that you were like religious zealots? I mean, I know you mentioned that the judge was like, oh, what did you think God was going to heal your baby? I mean, like, do you think that that hindered you in any way in the trial phase that I mean, it's
no,
great that they were there. I would love it, but I just wonder if the state was like, "Oh, see, they're in a cult or whatever." I mean, I don't know.
No, that actually never crossed my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I remember our judge that we got finally, he said, don't think by some mystical force that you're going to get out of this because you're not. He
Mm-hmm.
basically said, take the plea because you're not going to get out of this.
Right.
And so that mystical force that he was referring to was the same mystical force in the end that turned his heart around to deliver us. And
Right.
the scripture says that God changes and turns the
Mm-hmm.
hearts of kings and turns the
Right.
hearts of man. And just like he did to King Nebuchadnezzar or the king of Egypt, the Pharaoh of Egypt, he
Mm-hmm.
changes their hearts and he hardens whom he will. He softens whom he will. He does whatever he pleases and he
Mm-hmm.
does it well. And so it just, he, we thought that it was going to be by some miraculous, I mean, it was a miracle in the end that we were delivered in the end,
Mm-hmm.
but he used means. He used
Mm-hmm.
his people. He
Mm-hmm.
used, our judge, our lawyers, and he used means. And so there's just so much to unpack. But Lord willing, if whoever's hearing this can read the book, I would love to talk more. But yes, so we went to our trial and we found out that they didn't have much evidence.
Right.
And our lawyer was excellent. He did such an excellent job at dismantling
Mm-hmm.
all that they did not do.
Right.
Pretty much, the medical examiner saw that our son was small,
Mm-hmm.
and she thought to herself, these people starved this child. I
Mm-hmm.
don't I don't have to examine this child. I
Right.
don't have to check his bowels to see if he's eaten anything because look at him. He's small. He hasn't eaten anything. I don't
Right.
have to check his pituitary gland to see if it's developed at all because
Mm-hmm.
look at him. She took a look at him and she said, I'm not going to do my job. And then
Mm-hmm.
she told everybody else that was working with her on the case that we starved him.
Mm-hmm.
And they all stuck to it and they dug their heels in it. And so they tried to destroy evidence that we were feeding him and Pedialyte. Those evidence they couldn't find it. They destroyed it, and the judge was like, "Oh, that kind of stuff happens all the time." Like, why would evidence that would be good for truth
Right.
be destroyed? Like, oh, that kind of stuff happens all the time. Like, why?
Really? Okay.
Why? And
That's
how? Why
scary.
are we so nonchalant about it? Like, oh yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter.
Right.
Um, so it just, and then our one of the things that also they did not have was all of our son's medical records. So
Mm-hmm.
they ordered our son's medical records, but they only got like a small packet of it, and which it was a big packet of all of his medical records from the beginning until we moved. And so
Mm-hmm.
they did not see that we took him to the hospital about 13 times before he passed away. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't see that all this evidence, and they did actually call here in North Dakota and threatened the doctor and told her if you come and testify for them that you will be sued for not doing your job.
Oh.
So she basically would not answer our calls. She would not want to testify for us. So it was just,
Okay.
it felt like time after time that we were going to lose because they were trying to attack anything we would bring. So
Mm-hmm.
we had to hire our own medical examiner, and
Mm-hmm.
our medical examiner, all they had was blood samples.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, I could see from blood samples and for different samples that this child was very sick. he had some kind of pulmonary health issues. He was very sick, but I can't tell you exactly what he was sick from because you guys didn't examine his body.
Right.
And so he's like, this is not detective work. This
Mm-hmm.
is not how we do our job. And it's we had to pay a lot for all these things that we were doing, but God was providing for all of that. And so also in the church that we were going to, there was a police officer, a retired police officer,
Mm-hmm.
and by God's grace, God sovereignly works in and through everything, through means. We invited them to come over to our house,
Mm-hmm.
and we were actually running out of formula. And so my Derek and the police officer, the Christian, they went to Walmart to go pick up some formula for our
Okay.
son. And he was in court and he testified. He's like, these people were feeding their son. Like they went to Walmart while they invited us over to go get some more formula. And they were feeding their son. We saw food in his face, and they showed pictures at the court. They see food in his face, a smiling, happy child, but
Mm-hmm.
constantly the prosecutor would pretty much try to display that because I went to special education, I was dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband graduated from college with summa cum laude,
Mm-hmm.
and he was very educated.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he raised a child before,
Right.
so he knew how to raise a child. He's smart.
Mm-hmm.
So why would he not take his child to the hospital? This
Right.
was a plan. This was something that they planned. He was abusing the wife and he was abusing the child. They were
Mhm.
starving him and they were giving all kinds of theories
Even though
on.
they didn't have any evidence of that, that's the thing that shocked me over and over was that they didn't have any evidence of any of those things, but they
Yeah,
just keep putting it out there like it was true in your trial phase.
right. And all these people listening to all these speculations. And our lawyer kept saying, all you're going to hear is speculations. You're
Mm-hmm.
not going to hear any facts.
Right.
And don't give me these speculations, give me facts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what you're going to hear from any of these people. The detectives, the medical examiner, they did not do their job. They didn't examine anything. And he also asked them, okay, did they asked our pastor, did anybody come and question you or ask you any questions about the Henrys? And he's like, no. He
Right.
asked other people, did they question you and ask you any questions? And then he's like, okay, so if they did not ask any questions to anybody,
Mm-hmm.
what did they do?
Right.
What did they do? They
Mm-hmm.
didn't do anything. They decided all together that we starved him,
Mm-hmm.
and they went with that.
Right.
And so I ended up at the end that they were giving the rules for actually the judge actually dropped the first degree murder because he said, we don't see any premeditated intent of killing the child.
Right.
So there's nothing there. So he dropped that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think he also dropped the second one. I'm not sure. I believe he might have dropped the second one and only left first degree child abuse, third degree child abuse, and manslaughter. I think that's what happened. He left that for the jury to
Mm-hmm.
deliberate. And so they went back to deliberate on that. And I, like I said, you guys can read the story, but I had a really good relationship with the deputies there. The Lord really shone through me. And one of the deputies there, she was just a blessing. She knew that they were deliberating, and she looked at me, she was like, Henry, she's like, you have this face of strength.
Mhm.
You need to show your weakness.
Oh,
Weakness is not she's like, it's not a bad thing. Tears are not a bad thing.
sure.
This is hard.
Mhm.
She's like, I broke down and I started crying. And she's like, yes, this
Mhm.
is what we all need to see.
Right.
And she hugged me and she's like, this is hard. This is the reality.
Mhm.
And I think my husband heard that I was crying and in one of the cells because he was in the cell
Mhm.
and he was really scared. He thought like, oh, did she hear something? Something
Sure.
happened. And so I went back in and was waiting. And they came back at some point, and they said, well, we don't know what to decide. They were confused about the instructions,
Mhm.
and they didn't know what to decide. And so the judge basically told them, he's like, if you don't decide today, you're gonna have to come back another day and miss work and whatever. And basically, like, he could have said, like, there's a thing called hung jury, like,
Right.
we just don't know what to decide, let's get a retrial,
Mhm.
basically. Hung jury. He didn't say anything about that.
Mhm.
Basically pushed them to make a decision. And
Right.
so they went back in the room, and I think it only took them like 15 minutes, and they came out with their verdict. And we were really nervous, like
Mhm.
what was going to happen.
Mhm.
And so they came out with the verdict. I went first, and the prosecutor really didn't have much to say about me. They were basically attacking my husband. They was
Mhm.
basically saying that he's the smart one, he's the mastermind, he is the one who planned everything.
Mhm.
So they gave me a third-degree child abuse, which I thought at the time was a misdemeanor, but
Mhm.
for some reason it changed or something. I don't really understand the whole um, judicial system.
Mhm.
Um, so, and they said time served, like, you can go, your time is served.
Mhm.
And then my husband gets up there, and that the prosecutor was just like all nine barrels. She was attacking him
Mhm.
all. And what is the judge to do? Like, you
Right.
know, he 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 was really like tied.
Mhm.
So the jury came out with first degree child abuse, and
Right.
first degree child abuse holds 9 to 15 years.
Mhm.
And the jury did not really understand that. They thought one first means a lesser charge. They didn't understand that. And
Mhm.
so they gave him 9 to 15 years. And the
Right.
judge was, okay, well, so sentencing actually wasn't at that time. He set a court date for sentencing like 6 weeks later.
Mhm.
Um, and so then after that, we were, I think we had a bond, and family paid that bond, and we were able to get out. And
Mhm.
it was about, I would say, almost 7 months that we were apart from each other,
Mhm.
uh, waiting trial and everything. And so our reunion day was just like, I mean, imagine being apart from your
Mhm.
spouse for 7 months.
Right.
Um, it was a blessing, but it was also shadowed with, okay, sentencing is coming, like, what's
Mhm.
going to happen.
Right.
And the deputies, they were like, oh, the judge will be very lenient. Don't worry about it. Everything will be fine. But my husband didn't feel like it was going to be fine. So it was always like looming over him that it was not going to be fine. And so so we had a good time. We took a lot of walks together. We spent a lot of time, and we talked about our fears. We talked about the mistakes that we made. We knew we made a mistake, but how would we have known at the time that not taking him to the hospital was going to cause his death? Like,
Right. Because
it
you guys
just,
had been through it so many times with the same type
right.
of thing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was very painful to talk about it because it was just so, we were being judged for a mistake that we made.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the 6 weeks came, and we were very, very nervous. Again, our family packed out the court. Friends and family, church, people we didn't even know showed up. It was just people were praying in the courtroom, just encouraging us, and it was very encouraging. But it was still like overwhelming. So
Mm-hmm.
we go in, and the judge tells me time served. So I went up first, and then um, he says that my husband gets 9 years, 9 years and 0 days, I believe he said. So instead of the 9 to 15 years with a tail that they usually do, he just said 9 to 0,
Mm-hmm.
um, which means he doesn't get parole. That means it's just 9 years.
Okay.
Um, so so I remember the day like yesterday because
Mm-hmm.
I remember him turning around and looking at me, and I felt like my spirit left me, and I just sat sunk in my seat. And friends and family would tell me that I was just weeping and wailing as soon as he walked away.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody also mentioned to me that they saw the judge and how he looked distraught on how I was just like I couldn't control myself. I couldn't control my limbs. I couldn't walk. Like
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like death came
Yeah.
upon me. And so they had to pick me up out of the courtroom because I couldn't walk. And so it was very, very difficult. Sometimes I remember going on a walk one time, and I saw a woman who was crazy. She would take out her stuff out of her backpack, line it all up on the floor, put it all back in her backpack, and do the same thing again. And I thought to myself, I feel like I'm slipping away like her.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly felt like I didn't know how to survive without my husband. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have my husband, and I failed to mention as well that I believe, okay, it was March that we went in, and April, my father passed away from cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And he was an unbeliever, and I didn't have a good relationship with him because he left. So I wasn't able to reach out to him. And that was very overwhelming on top of losing my son, on top of losing my living children, on
Right.
top of not being with my husband. And now my dad's dead. And it's just all piling on top of me. And just sometimes it was so hard to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and now I really felt like I'm breaking. I don't know if I can hold on any longer. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember I told my brother-in-law, I was like, can I just go home with you guys? I just can't stay here anymore. And I wore every piece of clothing article of my husband. I wore his wedding ring, I wore his underwear, I wore
Yeah.
his clothes. I was literally getting somewhere like I was losing it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then my husband calls. We were at a restaurant, and he calls, and his voice, instead of having like a strong voice, like "Hey," his voice was so weak, and I couldn't. I just
Yeah.
like they took him,
Mm-hmm.
and and it basically emasculated him, and it just I couldn't, I was just weeping in the bathroom, and my family is all sitting at the restaurant. The bathroom is right there, and they're just sitting there, just listening to me, just weeping.
Mm-hmm.
And I come out, and they're just like, what do they do? What do they say? Like, what do you say to someone who's lost everything, house, everything?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was very difficult to be around children too. Like, some people would have their new babies, and in their innocence and their kindness, they're like, "You want to hold the baby?" And I'm like,
Right. Yeah.
"No." It was so difficult for me. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes all those attacks that I heard in the courtroom, I would be like, "Am I really a bad parent, God?" Because
Mm-hmm.
you hear those attacks just like the attacks when I was a kid, people saying I was dumb and stupid, and I believed it. And
Mm-hmm.
how put a stronghold on me. And now these people saying that I'm a bad parent, I'm this and that. And I was like, is this true?
Right.
Is this true?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had such a hard time, like, being released from that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the struggle I was going to. But again, I did not know how to be real or face that struggle. So, internally, I was like, okay, that's enough. I'm not going to face it. I'm just going to pretend it doesn't exist. And so,
Mm-hmm.
for everybody around me, I had this picture. I'm like, oh, Alex is strong. Like, look at her. Like, she's there singing and everything. And my husband told a family at our church, like, hey, if I go away, can you take care of my wife as if she was your own daughter?
Mm-hmm.
And they took me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so overwhelming for me. Like, they provided for me as if I was their own child.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they fed me. They took me out. It's just amazing how much they loved me. They brought me to court. They took me 2 hours to visit my husband. Like, everybody, the elders at church, they all took turns driving me to visit my husband. Um, they helped me get a job. They helped me get a bank account. I had to, like, start all over by
Mm-hmm.
myself. Like, I was a teenager when I met my husband, and I got married when I was 20. It's just like going from your household with your parents and then going to a new household. And it's like, not that your husband's your father, but it's kind of like he takes that role as your father, your protector. And now my dad is gone, and my protector, my covering is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was so difficult for me to feel like I can do this on my own. And the Lord had to really was helping me through it all. I know I'm very long winded, so tell me when I
Oh,
should.
sorry.
Um,
So
yeah,
so your husband at this point, he's been sentenced, and that's kind of uh incredibly terrible. And so but the lawyer had decided then that he was, and I don't know how much time passes between these things when he decides to file this, which I can't
it was
remember what it's called right now, but
it's called JNOV. It's Latin,
okay.
judgment notwithstanding the verdict.
Okay.
So it's basically saying that the judge made the wrong decision to allow this all go out in court, and that he should just exonerate my husband and drop all the charges,
Hmm.
drop the only one charge that he had.
Right.
And so, also at the time, two of the jury members wrote to the judge, and they told him, like, Judge, we did not understand, like, all that was happening. We made our decision. Please, this family has already gone through so much.
Hmm.
Please be lenient with them. Please, like, and like, family and friends were writing our judge, and it's just like, he had this motion, and we went there to court, and he said, I just need time. I just need time to think this over. And I think that might have happened like times or so that he said that he needed time to think about it.
Like this motion that he filed, I mean, it's kind of like a Hail Mary pass, for lack of a
Oh,
better word, right? I
yeah,
mean, or a phrase
yeah,
that, like, it's not really expected to do much, right?
mm,
Is kind of my understanding.
right. And lawyers usually hear about this in their books, but they're like, oh, it just
Okay,
doesn't happen because in order for this to happen, a judge would have to like basically say he was wrong.
wrong, yeah.
What judge does that unless he
Right.
really, really believes it. And he puts his neck on the line to
Hmm.
say that he was wrong and that he allowed all this to happen.
Right.
Um,
But like from what the jury said though, the people that wrote to him from their letters, they were basically saying that they thought what they were saying was that Derek made a mistake in not taking his son to the hospital. And
mhm.
that was
Yeah,
it. Like,
right.
so, so that's what the jury members were even saying, is that they totally misunderstood what the
Mhm.
judge was even saying.
That's right. And so when they were rushed to make their decision, they were like, oh, what do we do? Okay, this is what we'll do.
Right.
And so it really was. And like I said, God works through means.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what he was going to use to make us just say, you are God and there is no one else. There is none besides you.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was going to be something that would give him the glory and the praise that is due unto him.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I mean, it could have happened then and there when you were sentenced that he was going to be delivered, but it wasn't yet. It was going to
Mm-hmm.
be something bigger than that.
Right.
So, as you know, so yeah, so we actually every time we had a court date for that, Derek, I'm not sure if they just didn't have the finances to drive Derek from the prison to the courthouse, but he
Okay.
never like was at the courthouse, and the judge was always like, "Where's Derek? Like, I
Oh,
want to see him."
sure.
Um, and so he wasn't there. And also in the background, I had to kind of try to remember we were also going through a civil trial with our kids.
Right.
Our parental rights are they're trying to terminate our rights. And
Right.
now my husband is in prison, they're like, oh, well, you guys are guilty. We're going to take your kids away. And now the foster family is trying to say more things. And I went on one visit with my son, Hezekiah, and our son, Hoshea.
Mm-hmm.
And that visit, when I saw him for the first time, he said to me, he's like, where is the other daddy? And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, the other daddy isn't so scary, is he? And I said, no, daddy isn't scary at all. Why
Mm-hmm.
would you think that daddy is scary?
Right.
And he just, looked at me just like with a confused face and he just mentioned where other daddy and things like that. And I'm just like, it made me feel like they were telling him something. They were
Right.
feeding him something.
Mm-hmm.
And after that visit, she told the agency that Hezekiah was getting worse, that he shouldn't see the mother because it wasn't good for him. And so after that, I wasn't able to see him. And the first time I was able to see Hoshea, I think he might have been, I think around I 9 months. He was
Mm-hmm.
9 months the first time I
Wow.
saw him. And it was very, very difficult
Mm-hmm.
because remember during the pregnancy, I kind of like it was hard for me to attach to him
Right.
because I knew that he was going to be taken away.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I first went to the visit, I look at him like, this is my child. But
Mm-hmm.
like, so hard because like I'm not I didn't nurse him. I didn't hear his cries. I didn't do anything with him.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very difficult for him and for me. Like
Right.
imagine going to a visit and with another person that you've never really seen before and you're you're confused. You're 9 months old. It's all confusing.
Mhm.
Um, and I remember when the foster mom would come bring him in, sometimes he would get a little aggressive with her because it's so confusing. Like,
Mhm.
what is happening right now?
Mhm.
I'm left with this woman, and I see her once a week or whatever it was.
Right.
It was very, it was very difficult to always have to leave him.
And
Like,
you were even being advised too, weren't you, Alex, to divorce Derek so that you'd have a better chance of getting your children back?
yes, yes, I was getting that advice. And I would tell people, I said, listen, my husband is innocent.
Hmm.
I married him till death do us part. I will
Right.
not abandon him. And it was hard for my husband because he heard that a lot in prison. He's like, hey, once you're in prison, all family will abandon you. That's what the other prisoners would tell him. And
Hmm.
that's how he felt like I was going to leave him. So I had to constantly reassure him, I am not leaving you. I didn't know how to drive from New York. So I didn't know how to drive. So I went to driver's ed with kids, teenagers, and I got my permit. I got a job. I also went to a therapist,
Hmm.
and therapist, it was a God thing because I needed someone to tell me that I was wrong, that I needed to cry, that I needed to weep, that it's not a sin to cry. It's not
Right.
a sin to say, why God? I mean, look at the Psalms.
Hmm.
Why art thou cast down, O my
Right.
soul? Why
Right.
art thou disquieted within me? Hope thou in God. The ups and the downs that you see in these Psalms, like 1 minute they're praising the Lord, and the next minute they're like, where are you?
Right.
And
Right.
that is normal. And
Hmm.
to understand, like, that wasn't taught in my church. That kind of thing, like, you trust the Lord with everything, at all times. You be this, you be strong, and, like, this picture of, like, everybody, like, have no weakness
Hmm.
is not is not
Right.
reality.
Hmm.
We are frail. We are weak. We are children. We are sheep
Hmm.
in need of our master to lead us. And sometimes we will go through painful experience. It says that Jesus learned obedience through what he suffered. And
Hmm.
we do the same way. We walk in steps. And those kind of things were not, it was like basically told me, like, oh, if you follow Christ, you'll have a good life, you'll be happy, you'll this kind of like
Hmm.
mentality. Like, no, it's not like that. If you confess that you are a believer, it could be to your own damage
Right.
in many people's lives.
Hmm.
Um, Many situations, you'll look like a weirdo.
Hmm.
Um, Many situations, and so
Right.
did I wasn't taught that, and so I
Hmm.
had to learn that through suffering.
Hmm.
And so I say it's not nothing new under the sun, but the best teacher is suffering. I I I don't believe that anybody should shy from it. I know it's painful and it's a weird thought, but God teaches us through what we suffer. And it's such a gift to us. It's painful and it doesn't feel like a good gift, but it is. And
Right.
every good gift and every perfect gift comes from above. He's not going to give us a rock if we ask for him for bread. You
Hmm.
know, he's going to give us exactly what we need when we need it, the time we need it.
Right.
Um, and so yes, it was, you know, they people told me, like, you should divorce him, and I was like, no. And I wanted to stand by him and encourage him that I was going to be faithful to him no matter what. And a lot of times it was hard for me to make decisions, vulnerable, have no him not there to help me, and so it was difficult sometimes. And so I would write him or he would call.
Mhm.
And it's a blessing to have those where I could spend time with him. But it was really hard to visit him, just to like say goodbye to
Yeah.
him was so difficult. And so a court date was coming up that they were going to hear the motion for the JNOV.
Mhm.
And I was, excuse me, I was really excited because I felt like, God, you're going to deliver us because you said you would. And,
Mhm.
and this could be the time that you deliver us. And so I was really excited.
Mhm.
And I was telling my husband, like, you're coming home tomorrow. And he's like, I
Don't get
hope
too
so.
excited, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
Mhm.
I told one of the deputies, I was like, hey, I'm going to pick my husband up tomorrow. And
Mhm.
he's like, he has 9 years.
Right.
9 years. And he's like, I don't think you're going to pick him up tomorrow. And
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I am. And I told God, and I was like, hey, I was like, the deputy, can I see him tomorrow so I can tell him that I'm picking up my husband? And, I always say, and there's nothing new under the sun. I'm sure somebody else said this before me, but there's
Mhm.
nothing. You should tell God anything and everything. Like if
Mhm.
you, I mean, he wants us to act like, or actually like believe that he's our dad.
Mhm.
Like, why would a child go to their daddy and daddy, can you do this? Daddy can do that, and they're like, no, I'm not going to do that for you.
Right.
Your daddy cares for you, and he wants to answer your requests. So come before him, as long as it's not something for your pride or whatever. And so I was really excited. Um, and we had lots of friends that were going to come to court, and lots of friends who were so encouraging. I met this older lady before our trial all happened, that she had such a faith. She was like an older a woman, and she would always like make up songs.
Mhm.
And she was like, Alex, you sing these songs with me, and the Lord's gonna deliver your husband. And I remember she made up this song before court, and she used the music to let our people go for Moses. And I sang it with her. My in-laws sang it with her, and we were just like all excited and like, let our brother go.
Mhm.
So yeah, and so we were really excited, and we went to court. We packed the court out, and the judge didn't want our lawyer or the prosecution to talk at all. He's like, I don't want to hear anything. Just let me talk. And
Mhm.
he basically took like a half an hour or so and retold the whole story and said how we were loving parents, and how, we made a really bad decision, but that this shouldn't have happened this way. And he basically said, I grant the motion for the JNOV. And
I
I
can't
turned,
even imagine how you.
I
Okay.
turned,
Sorry.
I turned to look at our lawyer, and he's like, and I'm like, really? And
Okay.
he's like, yeah. And I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, everybody in the courtroom was just weeping, and they
Mhm.
could not believe what was happening. And I told my lawyer, can I pick him up today? And he's like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could. I would call down to the prison and see what they say. And the judge was like, where's Derek? Because Derek's not there. So
Mhm.
Derek has no idea
Right.
that he's been exonerated. He has no idea. He's
Mhm.
just walking around in prison, not
Mhm.
knowing that he's actually a free man.
Right.
And so I call up, no, actually, I call up to the prison and I asked them if I could pick up my husband today because he's been exonerated of all of his charges. And
Mhm.
he's like, they're like, at all his charges? I'm like, he only has one. And they're
Right.
like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, well, we've never done this paperwork before. So, I mean, you probably, yeah, you can come pick him up, but I don't know how long it's going to take us to do this
Right.
paperwork. And my husband calls me. And I'm so excited to tell him, like, oh, how am I going to tell him? Like, so I answer the phone. I'm like, hey. And, he immediately thought it didn't go well because I'm
Right.
like, hey.
Mhm. Mhm.
And all I said was, Derek Adam Henry has been exonerated of all his charges. And he said he felt his legs were so weak, like he was going to faint. And he's
Mhm.
like, I gotta go. Hung up the phone on me. And I'm like, what? What?
Okay.
Hang up the phone on me. So he goes and he runs and he tells his bunkie. He's like, hey, I don't think you should be like announcing this to everybody because people may not be very happy for you.
Sure.
So
Sure.
just keep it to yourself. I'm really happy for you, but
Mhm.
I won't be telling this to everybody.
Right.
And so he calls me back and I'm like, well, I'm gonna hopefully pick you up today. And then so I think he gets some paperwork while he's there, and he's walking around, and one of the deputies say like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Well, I've been exonerated of all my charges." And he's like, "Let me see your paperwork." And he's like, "Oh, well, don't come back." And so
Try not to, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
and so I wake up. My mother and father-in-law were sleeping. I'm like, hey, we gotta go pick him up. And so we go and I go in the building and we're like, oh, we're here to pick up my husband. And he's like, oh, well, we have never, we like we said before, we've never done this paperwork. We're trying to figure all of this out, and so hopefully you'll be able to pick him up soon. And so I'm like, oh man, I don't have his clothes with me, so I better go out to the car and get his clothes. And I went to the car to go get his clothes, and I was walking back to the building, and walking back with me was a deputy that I told yesterday that I was going to pick up
Oh.
my husband. And
Mhm.
so I told him, I'm picking up my husband today. And he's like, uh, okay, well, I hope he doesn't come back.
Right.
Congratulations. He's like all confused. And
Mhm.
like, this is so awesome. And
Mhm.
so he comes out, and it's just amazing. It's just
Mhm.
amazing. God just provided. And the picture that is in the back of the book is
Mhm.
the picture of us when we came out.
You're right.
So
Mhm.
yeah, I was very exciting, but it wasn't over yet. We still had to
This is
fight to.
actually the picture if anybody wants to see, but of us
Yes.
picking up Derek. But I mean, you guys had a really long road after that, working to get your kids back. And I mean, I there's a lot more in the book, and I would recommend that people do read it. And the reason, I mean, this is an amazing story, I think, of God's faithfulness. And that's part of the reason that, Mari had recommended that I interview you, and I'm so glad that she did, because I think, I mean, some people might say, well, what does this really have to do with homeschooling? Well, I think it has a lot to do with homeschooling, because homeschooling is discipleship of your children. And a lot of times people view that in the wrong type of way. And
Mm-hmm.
one of our partners with the NDHSA is Heritage Defense, and they deal with
Mm-hmm.
this type of stuff. Are you pretty familiar with them now, Alex? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I would recommend that you would join that. They're kind of like the HSLDA for, so the HSLDA helps with legal homeschool challenges. The Heritage Defense helps with things exactly like what Alex's and her husband went through. And so
Mm-hmm.
if you had a nosy neighbor, or if you had a family member who didn't agree with your decision to homeschool, and then they start scrutinizing more parts of your life, and you end up getting reported for something, that's what they're there for, is legal representation for things like that. Your situation really reminded me of what they deal with. So
Mm-hmm.
I will put a link to Heritage Defense in the bottom of this, but they're on our partners page on our website too, because they.
Yeah, we were members of them with them. And so it's really nice, and they give you a little card that just tells you what to say if somebody comes to your door, and
Mhm.
you just let them in. You don't talk to them, and you just say, hey, I'm just going to call my lawyers, and they answer right away, and they will
Mhm.
help you with that situation. So it's really, really
Right.
nice to have that. Just be a member, and then
Mhm.
always have that available to you.
Right. And so I guess the one of the last questions I would want to ask you is that I think that you and your husband, I mean, I'm not saying you're perfect people, but I think that you did a really good job suffering well for Christ. And so I think that suffering for Christians is, I think it's a requirement. It says in the Bible that we're going to suffer.
Mhm.
And we all hope that we would do well when that happens. And I just wanted to know what kind of encouragement would you give to Christians as they are going through certain things? Maybe not as bad as what you guys went through, but we all go through things.
Mhm.
What would you want to say to them to encourage them today?
Walk by faith and not by sight. What you see is very deceiving. What ifs, if, then, but, those are not real. What's real is what the Word of God says. And it doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem like many of the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers them out from them all. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't seem like it's going to happen when you lose your job. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't seem like seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. It doesn't seem like all those things will be added unto you when you have 9, 10 kids, and it's not, you're not making enough income. It doesn't seem like all those things will be added unto you. But
Mm-hmm.
God shall supply all your needs according to his riches in glory in Christ Jesus. He will. He will. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. You have to be hearing the word of God so that you can have faith. Faith doesn't come from anything that you can conjure up within you, like, okay, I'm going to trust God today even more. No, it comes from God, it comes from his word. It doesn't come from you. And so we have to, it's like walking blindly, accepting whatever God gives your way and walking with him in the dark. And just like God's word is a light unto our feet and a lamp, or a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. And he says, this is a way, walk in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a comfortable walk.
Right.
Sometimes it's very painful. It's very
Mm-hmm.
scary. Sometimes I said several times in the book, like I felt like I was in a bubble and there was no air in there, and I was trying to pierce a hole through the bubble to get air and just to breathe for a second so that I can keep going. Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes you're just, oh, I can't do this anymore, God. But then when you're like, this is my Father's world, and to all listening ears, this is God's world. It is well with my soul. When you repeat to yourself his word does some transforming power within you that it doesn't, it can't compare to a self-help book or something else. His word is what will transform you. So his word is everything. It's
Mm-hmm.
everything. Be in the word of God. And that's what helped me and my husband. Like, we lived in the word. We ate the word. Like, there was no time. We couldn't look at our watch to see what time is it. We didn't have a schedule. All we had was the word of God and prayer. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard. And I would say this, like, being out, when I got out of jail,
Mm-hmm.
I really had a hard time. I
Okay.
really had a hard time spending time with the Lord. Like, being a parent, I have 9 children. Like, spending time with the Lord it's very hard to have a quiet time. Like, it seems like kids are always waking up really early or doing
Yeah.
something, and you're like, oh, I gotta go change a poopy diaper. Oh man,
Mhm.
somebody's toilet.
Right,
Whatever.
right.
There's, but God's word is what helps you function. God, I need you. God, I need you. And He wants us to be as little children and
Right.
say, Papa, Papa, please help me. And He will help you. He
Mhm.
will not give you a stone if you ask for Him bread.
Right.
And so it just, it's hard. Don't look at what's around you. I always think about the story of Peter when he was told to walk on water,
Mhm.
and God told him, like, hey, just trust me, walk on water. And
Mhm.
as soon as he was doing it, but as soon as he started to look at the winds and the waves, he was like, oh, I'm sinking.
Right.
That's when we sink, when we look at the winds and the waves and we look at our circumstance and we focus in on our circumstances. Don't focus on that. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's real. It's real. Talk to God about it.
Right.
I do remember a story in the scriptures also about King Hezekiah as he was going to get attacked from um, Rabshakeh. I think that was his name, and he was attacking him, and he was saying, "Don't no, don't believe in
Right.
the
Don't
God."
believe your God is going to save you.
Exactly. And Hezekiah does this beautiful thing, and he like unravels this before God, and he says,
Mhm.
look at this letter.
Right.
Look at what he says about you. Look
Mhm.
at this. God
Right.
help." And that's what we have to do. And we have to line up all of our things. Look, God, I don't have a job. How am I
Mhm.
going to provide for my family? Look, God, I have 5 kids and I'm gonna have another one. How can I homeschool all these kids?
Right.
Like, I'm gonna be a parent for the till I'm 70. Like, what
Mhm.
am I gonna do? God will provide for you.
Mhm.
Children are a heritage from the Lord. The fruit of the womb is His reward,
Mhm.
and they are hard. They are
Mhm.
hard, but they are a heritage. They
Right.
are your reward. And
Mhm.
so God will give you the strength to endure with that reward and with
Right.
anything that comes your way.
Right. Yeah. Your story when I read it reminded me. I thought about Job a lot in the Bible and how even after everything that he went through, he still declared that his Redeemer lives and that he would see him. And I just really appreciated your faithfulness, and I appreciate that you took time to do this interview.
Praise
So,
God.
yeah,
Praise God.
and thank you guys all for listening.